Shalom, Soraim Tovim. This one might be my most favorite video of all the videos that I ever have made or will make. Where to begin? Okay, so Gab. We'll start with Gab. Gab is a website, gab.com. It's a social media site with free speech. So there's a lot of feds and government agents who are pretending to be like white supremacists, along with authentic white supremacists. If you really pay attention to detail, you can tell the difference. There's a lot of Arab Muslims who are pretending to be white supremacists to turn white people against Jews and fight their enemy for them as Arabs colonize white countries, right? Like it's all manipulation and propaganda, like any other social media, obviously. So Andrew Torba, who claims to be a Christian and a Christian nationalist but pushes drugs on his website, he he always fucks up like this. You can actually log it like a timeline analysis, right? You can, like a cycle. It's like, oh, there's a log, there's a fuck up, there's a... He recently made an announcement that they were sick of the porn profiles and other subversive behavior. So they were going to block Israeli VPNs. Now, I think he might not be dumb. He might be trying to be clever and manipulate dumb Gab users who believe the earth is flat and Trump is really president and things like that, Christians and conservatives, into giving him more money. And so the concept is blame shifting all of white people's guilt onto the Jews. Scapegoat. Literally from Judaism, and then Christianity kind of stole it, but it's where you sacrifice the goat for your sins, so the goat takes on your debt of sin. The Jews are the goat that Whitey is sacrificing to atone for Whitey's sins. I'm sorry, it's just what happened is funny to me. So from a secular perspective, this means that Andrew Torba has identified a cause and effect relationship between Jews and pornography and subversion. Now, objectively, Andrew Torba is very subversive. He claims to be a Christian, but he also pushes drugs. Drugs are subversive. He's subverting Christians with drugs while accusing the Jews of being subversive. Why did he ban Jews but not drugs? Subversion? But if he's right, and the cause and effect is Jews are the cause and porn and subversion is the effect, which totally ignores the very thing he's guilty of that he's accusing others of, that means that once the Israeli VPNs were banned, then the porn would stop. Now, I knew better than this. We've seen this cycle throughout history. Christians, whites will blame Jews for the consequences of Christian and white choices and decisions. And the Jews will be punished for the actions, for the guilt of the whites, right? Whites project their guilt onto the Jews. Not that Jews are, scot-free or anything like that in terms of guilt, but yeah, whites do this. And sure enough, once the Israeli VPNs were banned, I started logging and screenshotting all the white Christian posts that were pornographic and drug pushing. And I wasn't even trying. I actually wasn't giving any extra time to being on that social media site other than normal, because the whole reason I thought I was going to that site was to get away from the drug propaganda and porn propaganda that's pushed on mainstream sites like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, you name it. And sure enough, every time I logged on Gab, just like between, taking breaks between studying different subjects and things like that, porn, drugs, porn, drugs. So I started screenshotting it. I could actually I don't want to do that. I could do like the power video thing and thread and stitch those screenshots into this video. But I don't want the icon there. It's costs money and time. I'd rather go back to studying. Anyway, so I might do that. Maybe. We'll see. But when I started logging all this white Christian degeneracy, right? Like, they banned the Jews, but the porn continued. Therefore, the Jews weren't the cause and the porn was the effect. It's that white Christians are perverted, and blaming the Jews for the actions of white Christians is a cop-out. It's a scapegoat. When you apply the scientific method, process of elimination, eliminate the Jews, white perversion still exists. Clearly the Jews were not the cause. Plus, if Jews are like super smart, you don't think they can get around an Israeli VPN ban? Like, that's how stupid Torba is? Oh, yeah, that makes sense. And I guess I pissed off the white Christians, so they engaged in deception. And that's funny, because technically thou shalt not bear false witness. It's like a Christian thing. I think they're not supposed to lie, but then they lied because they got caught with fucking moral degeneracy. And so one guy, who I assume is a white supremacist, these are all anonymous accounts, so you never know who's behind him in real life, posted how drugs should be illegal for coloreds and non-whites, but legal for whites because whites are genetically superior. Therefore, they can handle their drugs better. And I knew better than that. So I posted a video of the homeless drug addicts. I can't remember if it was in Seattle or Philadelphia. It might have even been Moscow. It might have been Russia. I can't remember. Every major city you go to, there are white junkies who are like zombies, like weed zombie, heroin zombie, fentanyl zombie, methamphetamine. There's a lot of whites who are homeless and all fucked up because of drugs. So clearly, genetic superiority doesn't apply to these whites for some reason, right? Yeah, is it like a class hierarchy within a racial hierarchy? Is there a hierarchy within a hierarchy? And that video was removed, and I got the final warning on my account on Gab. Like, they're going to delete my account because I proved they were lying. Now, I've rewatched the video multiple times. I could thread it in this video. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't want to waste too much time with this stupidity. But not 1 second of that video has nudity or sexual acts. So it wasn't porn. Yet, it got removed as porn, but all the porn that I screenshotted was allowed. That was actual porn. Like, literally genitals and Joe Biden's mouth, right? Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, that's okay for white Christians to post, but you can't post that drugs are bad for whites. Now, because Andrew Torba is a drug pusher, I'm going to guess that he's invested in the CBD or marijuana industry. And so he's using the social media website, just like Elon Musk and all these other people abuse their positions of power, to increase profits by pushing his drugs through his website. And I'm anti-drug, so I counter that. And so that's why my post was removed as pornography, even though it wasn't porn. This has been happening to me a lot on various social media platforms. I think it's because the drug pushers want cannabis rescheduled, and I'm fighting it. I keep posting the image of, the infographics about the harms of marijuana and things like that. And so I think that's why I'm getting modded so heavily on various websites. And it's insanely funny to me because these white Christian drug and porn propaganda posters, right? They're posting drug propaganda and porn propaganda. Blamed the Jews for all their drugs and porn, the harmful effects of drugs and porn that Whitey is inflicting upon himself as a Christian or non-Christian. Doesn't matter. They're all greedy and corrupt and fucking backstabbing and cutthroat. Mike Sauer and John Phoenix or Justin Tallman or Josh Haven, etc. And they're trying to blame the Jews for their fucking shit. And it reminds me of my mom. Like, my mom hates me because she lied to me, and I proved that she was full of shit. And so now I'm being punished by my mother because she's the one who lied to me, and I proved that she was lying. The same thing with Torah and the Gab Christian, anti-Semitic Christians and stuff. Same thing. They lied. I proved they were lying. They punished me for proving they were lying. That it wasn't the Jews. And weirdly enough, on Facebook, Saul Fortunoff, my old Jewish friend who now I guess hates me too, they are treating me like I'm a Nazi. Like, he blocked me on Facebook because I asked him about, I assume because I asked him about Walter Berkmeyer, who was a Jewish Nazi, one of my favorite Jews in the history of Jews, like, because he co-discovered L-Dopa, the only successful treatment for Parkinson's. Yeah, pretty impressive. He's like the Rambam. He was a physician. Served in the, I think it was the Waffen SS. I could be wrong. I don't think it was Luftwaffe. Anyway, so this is a weird thing because I find myself in this crossroads a lot. When I speak a truth, Jews will call me a Nazi and Nazis will call me a Jew. And so the same Gab accounts, the same white Christian Nazis or whatever, who post that Jews are behind the porn industry and Jews are behind the drug industry, also post porn and drugs. And so when I oppose it, they call me a Jew for opposing drugs and porn, even though the Jews are behind the drugs and the porn. That makes sense, right? And then they threaten me, oh, I'm gonna gas you. They call me the K-I-K-E word. I'm trying to keep this Facebook kosher. But they call me that word. They call me a tyke. Yeah, we'll use tyke. But with the letter K instead of a T. And, they're gonna gas me. I'm gonna get holocausted. Like, the Holocaust never happened, but it's gonna happen again. And when it does happen again, even though it never happened in the first place, they're gonna get me. Because I'm a Jew. At the same time, Jews are like, no, you're not one of us. Go away. Nobody likes you. We don't like you. We hate you. You're a goy. Like, essentially. So it's a very weird place to be in. Like, I'm just speaking an objective truth here. It's weird. But on that note, an interesting thing about the Jews is that, so I went to a Jewish synagogue, a Jewish church, a Messianic Judaism church. I didn't know that was what it was. But I was Christian at the time, so it kind of made sense. And one of the guys told me, he's like, I know your face, right? So the Jews have me on the list of notorious anti-Semites, at least in, what was that, 2019? 2020, around there. And so I was like, oh shit. Well, that means they know that my anti-Semitism was caused by Jewish behavior, right? I was living on my sailboat in Annapolis, and Josh Glickman, who's a white Jewish lawyer from New York, was the biggest fucking asshole, and all of a sudden, I grew up raised on all kinds of pro-Jewish goy slop propaganda. The book Mouse by Art Spiegelman. I read both of those as a kid. Schindler's List. The Bible, right? Technically God's chosen people. Yeah. Etc. And when I met Josh Glickman in real life, and that guy was the biggest fucking asshole, all of a sudden it was like, Hitler was right. 6,000,001. And so, Jews understand this. They're not stupid. At least not the smart ones. And they're thinking, yeah, no, a fucking Jewish lawyer, dude, I hate that guy too. Like, he's an asshole, he's a lawyer, what do you expect? You think lawyers are going to be nice? Oh, man. And, so it's very strange. It's a very strange thing to be in, because you would think that I would have some sort of identity that was a group identity, right? But no, Spanish Catholicism, Mexican Catholics are all corrupt. They undoubtedly will also blame the Jews, just like the white Christians of Gab, but the Mexican Catholics, by themselves, without any influence, any external influence, corrupt. And then there's my family, and then by extension my ethnicity, la raza, my race. I am all alone. Which is interesting, because that means that I know my isolation is socially engineered. I'm 100% certain that people at Silicon Valley use our smartphones to separate us and control us and things like that. And so I know there's others out there like me who are anti-marijuana, and we are very specifically being separated and isolated and prevented from forming a group. Now, there are anti-marijuana groups, but they're controlled opposition, in my opinion. They're very weak, they're very limp-wristed, they're very milquetoast, and they don't produce tangible results. It's like QAnon. Controlled opposition. Anyway.
Yo, bud.
Okay, so I decided to stitch the video and the screenshots in. All those white people that you see all fucked up from the drugs, sorry, I guarantee CBD, hemp, marijuana, Delta 8, whatever, cannabis products were the gateway drug to harder drugs with all those people. And they're white. Likely originally Christian somewhere along their genetic lineage. Like, they probably stem from Christian families that came to the Americas a long time ago. Most of them. And, so that's what cracks me up about Andrew Torba. Like, why would he censor that video as obscene and pornographic? I mean, yeah, the girl has flies on her vagina. Kind of like Sisha Sour stench, but she's wearing pants, so you can't see anything. Sorry, I'm eating burritos. I got some stuck in my teeth. But that's like a thing. So Andrew Torba, Sisha Sour, Justin Tolman, Josh DeHaven, John Phoenix, they're all marijuana pushers, marijuana users and dealers. So those white people on harder drugs that you'll see in Seattle, Frisco, like anywhere there's a major city, anywhere there's white people, there's drugs and there's homelessness and all this bad shit that's happening to Whitey because of his drug use. They are the ones causing that. They are the drug dealers. They are the drug pushers, right? So I find that hilarious that, here I am being anti-drug and I'm getting censored by the website that allows porn and drugs, but claims to be Christian, white Christian nationalism. And yet the downstream consequences of Andrew Torba's drug pushing is destructive to whites and Christians and nationalism. It's a Christian thing. Like, he's a Christian grifter, so know them by the fruits of their labor. Yeah, that's pretty much what applies here, right? That's the fruits of the weed dealer's labor. That's the fruits of marijuana. Harder drugs. Without exception. Like, even in New Mexico, right? The Mesas where all those hippie communes were in the 60s and the 70s. Yeah, the methamphetamine came because hippie men who smoke weed tend to be pussies. And the meth heads tend to be, like, aggressive. And that's literally what happened to all those communes. They ended up all tweakered out. Like, Whitey, quit the drugs.